What are all the experts saying about the second half of 2020 in the housing market? We've got it all next on Tom's Take. You're definitely going to want to watch this one. There has been non-stop talk about what's happening in the market. Where's it going? Last week we broke down some local stats for you. This week I want to share with you what the experts are saying and what it's going to mean for us here in the greater Philadelphia area and what our viewpoint is on all this, being in the trenches, helping buyers and sellers every day. So we've got a couple people that are going to weigh in here. This was an article in Forbes. It had Mark Fleming, the chief economist of First American Financial Corporation. They do a lot of title insurance work. Ralph McLaughlin, the chief economist and senior vice president of analytics at House, which is a home equity startup, and Taylor Marr, the lead economist at Redfin. They asked him a couple of different questions. First one was, is it going to be a V-shaped or a W-shaped recovery? This has been a big talking point. Fleming from First American said it's very clearly a V-shaped recovery. Look at what's happening in the housing market right now. The other two, from House and Redfin, are believers in the W-shaped recovery. And their feeling is the second dip is going to be a lot less muted. And the reason we're seeing such a trajectory upwards right now is all the pent-up demand. I can tell you in Pennsylvania, we were the most restricted state in the country. So we've seen a bit of a crazier jump than most people did, especially when you look at that showing time graph of showing activity. Once that kind of hit May 19th, it shot up like a rocket ship. So a lot of people are thinking that might be the W-shaped recovery. And there's really not a lot of good analysis either way. It's just based on their predictions and the data that they're seeing. The next question, what housing indicators might be slower to recover and why? So Tucker from Zillow, Jeff Tucker, the economist at Zillow, said the incredibly limited supply of homes could keep a lid on home sales activity for the rest of the year. It's hard to record a home sale if no one else is willing to sell. It's a really relevant point. As hot as the market is right now, last week we saw a range from 35 to 44% decrease in number of homes that sold. So without this additional inventory, it's going to be tough to beat last year's numbers. And when you look at the next question that they asked, what will have to happen for more home sellers to come back to the market? So Fleming from First American said 2/3 of home buyers are existing homeowners. That's a major problem right now. A lot of people are scared to sell their home and have nowhere to go. This is a conversation we're having all the time with potential buyers and sellers. How do I time this? What's going to be best? How can I make sure I have a place to go? So right away, that's a really relevant issue here. Some of the other indicators that could lead to more homes coming onto the market, or one of the challenges, is the increase in coronavirus infections, because a lot of baby boomers who would be normally downsizing and moving to retirement communities, people aren't moving to a lot of retirement communities right now. Some have gone back, some have not. When it came time to actually pull people out of those communities during the height of the pandemic in March through May. So what we're looking at here is that there's a little bit of a fear, what if the virus comes back? And a lot of baby boomers are hunkered down, and these are the people that often downsize from that 20-year home. And you look at the trajectory of the market right now, you got millennial home buyers chomping at the bit to find properties. The properties they're going to buy are typically the ones that people move from to the 20-year home. So unless someone can identify that luxury, premium, lifetime 20-year property, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be a big bottleneck in the market. That's a great observation by all these experts here. And then the last question that I found pretty interesting was, is the home buying demand we are seeing today sustainable for the rest of the year? And what the experts all agreed on, and these are just opinions, that this is going to tail off. A lot of this is the result of the spring home shopping season got pushed to June, July, August. Remember, we were in lockdown and not able to do anything in Pennsylvania until May 19th. May 19th. That's right before Memorial Day weekend, typically when things start to slow down a little bit. So that's a great observation by all these economists. So to summarize, what they're saying here is no one really knows what's going to happen with the recovery. There's a lot of factors there. You could argue V, you could argue W. What I'm clear on is that even if there's a muted little bit of a dip there, and that might happen right around the election because of all the craziness in this presidential election coming up, all the hesitation, what we're going to see is a full recovery. And it's going to be a lot shorter, also very deep in terms of GDP and all these other factors that people chart. So no one really knows about the V-shaped or the W-shaped recovery. Biggest challenge remains inventory. That's number 2. And because of that, you have people that are hesitant to move because of health concerns. And safety is really important right now. So until that gets fixed, the inventory problem's still going to be there. And lastly, buyer demand is probably going to level off at some point. I don't see it changing until the end of the year, beginning of next year, based on the demand for people out there looking right now, the active home buyers that are still looking to get into properties, and the competition for the limited inventory that we're seeing between a 1.7 and a 2.3 month supply in the greater Philadelphia area. So all of this, in theory, looks good. What I know is this: every market's super local. Every market's going to be different. So if you don't get a local opinion on all these answers, you're not going to be able to make the right decision for yourself. Bottom line, if you're thinking about moving, you got questions, you need to talk to somebody, talk to a local agent, get a local analysis of your home, what you're trying to buy, what you're trying to sell, so you can understand how all these macro factors are going to affect you on the local level.